Welcome back to Library Dress YouTube channel. In today's class, we're going to learn how to make this beautiful halter neck dress. You can see it has a yoke made with two. I'm going to take you through how to cut and sew this, and everything is gathered with a bishop collar. It's a long dress with flare bottom, and it has two side pockets as well. I'm going to take you through how to cut and sew this. This is what the back looks like. You can see that it is really beautiful. It's made with the selvage of the lace, and I'll teach you how you can turn it and still achieve something like this. So to do this, what you need is to draft your basic bodice, just like I have mine here. This is my basic bodice. I'm working with a bustier. So the next thing I'm doing is to measure my dart. So you mark your nipple to nipple there, you connect, and then divide your shoulder into two and connect to your shoulder as seen. So after that, on your under bust line, you're going to mark your dart. So depending on how big the person's bust is, for this I took a dart of 1 inch on both sides. I connected it to the waist and then used my curved ruler to connect it to the bust point. So now the next thing I want to mark is the neck depth. Okay, you can see I marked my neck depth of 9 inches, and then I marked where I want the armhole to stop on the armhole line, and then you take your curved ruler and use that to connect it. So just make sure that you are working with the neck depth that you desire. So to tighten the neckline, I mark 1/2 inch on the dart line on both sides, and then I also connected that to my bust point. So I'm trying to treat it, so you measure both sides and see if it will align. If it does not align when you are sewing it, it will give you issues. So you just include the excess and then reconnect your neckline. So now I'm marking my waist measurement so that I can connect the side. That's the bust and that's the waist measurement, and then I'm going to connect it. So this is going to have a bust dart. So the difference you have from your front and back waist, you take that on your bust point for your bust dart, and that is all the darts we need to take. So for the back, it is simple. This is the back. So I'm going to create my neckline just like I did for the back. So for the front, you can see that this has is like an halter neck. So that is what I'm trying to create there. You mark where you want to have your neckline, where you're going to be putting your toe. So I marked around 2 inches from my center front. Between 1 to 2 inches is fine, and then I connected that to my armhole. So you take your curved ruler and then connect that to your armhole to form like your halter neckline. And then if where you are connecting it does not align with your initial neckline measurement, then you will reconnect. You can see how I'm reconnecting it. So you make sure that everything aligns well, and that is going to form your yoke. So that's the same thing you will do for the back. You are going to measure the part that will go into your collar, and then you measure um where you connect to form your halter neck on your armhole. So you're going to connect it just like that as shown, and then you decide on the neck depth you want to work with for the back, and then connect it. So that is the yoke for the back as well. So that is my back dart, and that is my zipper allowance for the back. So because I want to have a particular style of yoke, you can see how I connected it. So I reduced it, and that now becomes my yoke, which I'm going to be using my fabric, the selvage of my fabric, to create. So I'm just measuring everything to make sure that I have accurate measurement, and I'm writing it down. That's the rest of the neckline, because that is what you're going to use to create your collar. So before you cut it off, make sure that you measure around your neckline and you write it down somewhere. If you don't write it down when you want to create your collar, you know the neckline is no longer complete. It may be a bit difficult. So once you are done with all of that, you go ahead and grab your scissors, and then you cut everything out. So you can see the lines that I am cutting. Just cut along the line that you have marked. Okay, just like that. So for the bust dart, you're going to go ahead and close your bust dart, and then you redraw your side mark, because it's going to shift. So once you redraw it, you'll be able to cut everything out. So these are the patterns that we have. That is the front, and for the yoke you can see that it does not align, and then I'm going to be draping on it, so I need to have it unfold. That is why I have my pattern again. So I folded the pattern into two so that they are going to be a complete pattern. Remember, we just have one before, and you're going to be draping your neck. I have cut it on my fabric. You can see I cut out the fabric as well as the lining. These are all my pieces, and then for the back, make sure to notch where the yoke is going to be before you take out your pattern. So this is my yoke. I intend to line it. Remember, this selvage is going to be part of it. So there are several ways you can do this. You can use your bias to turn it, but I just want to line it. So what I did was to cut lining for it. I'm going to use it to turn it, and then when I get to this side, I'm just going to fold in the lining like this. You can either use your hemming gum or you can just top stitch on it. So I'm going to be top stitching on this thick part so that it's not going to show. Or you just make sure that this armhole area is as clean as possible. So I have notched where it's going to be, and it's going to be around here. Okay, so you can see that they aligned properly. So that is it for the back, and then for the front, I'm going to iron my stay to it, and then I'm going to iron my bra foam. I like to use bra foam for padding, but you can use wadding or bra cup as well. So this bra foam, I'm going to be working with it. I'm going to be adding it on the lining. Okay, I'm just going to use hairstay for the main fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then join the darts together before we continue sewing. And for the yoke, I'm going to be using this gold tool net. Okay, so you're going to spread it out like this, and then you're going to gather your tool on it. So you can see how it is. I'm going to go ahead and gather my tool exactly how I want it to be. So you're going to gather a lot of it. You can work with your pins, so you imitate exactly how you want it to be. So once you are done, you're going to sew on it together with the paper. That's how you will transfer it to your bustier. So you're going to sew it here on the bustier. You're going to sew the neckline as well, but make sure that this edge part, when you want to sew it, you fold in the net very well, so that you will not have your selvage showing at this point. So once you fold it in, you can now start to gather. So you do the same thing for the two sides. I'll go ahead and do all of this now, then bring it back for us to continue. So you can see that I have draped the net on my pattern. It makes it easier for you. I don't think you can easily get this neckline and everything without draping it on a pattern like this. So I have done that, and this is what I have for now. So this is my bodies, main bodies as well. I've got to sew them together, and I ironed it. This is the back. Remember, I decided to put a yoke for mine. Okay, the yoke that will cut like this, and then I did this design for my scallop. So this is one side of the back. It is turned with lining already. So this is the other side of the back. So you can see the effect that the scallop design is giving it there. Okay, and let me place it like this so that I can see it well. So this is what it's going to look like at the back, and then this neckline part, the little bit of the neckline is going to go inwards to the bishop collar. So that is it for the back. But for the front, the yoke of the front is not sewn yet. So now what I'm going to do is to go ahead. This is the main bodies, by the way. I have ironed it out. You iron your seams open. You can even use stay to still make it flatter. So this is what we have. This is the main fabric, and this is the lining. Like I said, I like to pad my lining, so you can see the lining, and you can see what the bustier looks like. So this is the bustier for the lining. This is what it looks like, and this is it on the inside. So what I want to do now is to use this the lining to turn out the yoke and the main fabric. So first you're going to go ahead and sew the yoke to the main fabric. You're going to trim off to the barest minimum that you need. I did not put seam allowance when I was cutting. That was why I just sew it a little bit, so that by the time I sew, I will still have this exact measurement. So I'm going to cut a little bit of this as well because of my allowance. Okay, and then here as well I'm going to cut it down a little bit. So I'll go ahead and sew this to my bodice, and then I'm going to turn everything out with the lining. So I'll go and do that now. Okay, so I have gone ahead to sew the yoke. So this is what the yoke looks like. So I have detached this, but you can see I still have the neckline intact because I'm here to fix the collar. So after sewing the yoke, you can carefully detach this one. So then you iron it. You can top stitch on it if you want to make it flat. So you go ahead and iron everything once again. So now we are almost done. The next thing to do now is to go and create your bishop collar. I have a detailed tutorial on how to do that already on the channel, so I don't want this being too long. So what I'm going to do is to sew the sides together like this, and then I'm going to insert my collar. So for the collar, this is the pattern that I worked with. Like I said, I have a tutorial on this already, and then I use this pattern to create my collar. Remember the 8.5 inches that we measured earlier? Okay, I added half an inch for folding it on this part, so that was 9 inches on fold, and that is what I used to cut out this collar. So on fold like this is 9. When you open it up, this hem here is going to be 18. So you're going to cut to a lining and a fabric, and you can use your fabric as lining as well. And then you're going to sew to turn the neck. This is the one that is going to be on the upper part, which is the neck, and this is the one you're going to sew to your dress. So you can see that I have already folded in my seam allowance. What I'm going to do now is to just go ahead, get the midpoint of this collar, okay, which is the center, and then I'm going to slot these ones inside like this, and then you go over to the back as well, and then you turn this. Then after turning it, you're going to slot this in as well. So the space here you have are those parts that is not occupied by your fabric. I hope you understand. So I'll go ahead and do this. I'm fixing a flare under mine. It's not going to be a straight dress, so mine is just going to be a half circle flare. That's your regular 180-degree flare. That's what I'm going to fix under mine, and then you're going to install your zipper. So I'll go ahead and do this now and bring it to you to see what the final dress looks like. Okay, so I forgot to mention that it's going to have a 2 sleeve as well. So this is the sleeve that I have put here. Okay, I've already fixed my collar. You can see the collar now is just going to be at the center front, and then also at the neckline here. That's so the rest of it is the rest of your neckline. Okay, this one that is not covered is the part that your fabric does not cover. Remember, it's an halter neck. So for the sleeve, you need it to be neatly finished. Okay, so before I fix my flare, remember that I have already used lining to turn it. So for me to be able to turn it like this, so that because the sleeve is not going to cover all the parts of your armhole, some of your armhole will still be without the sleeve for this part, and you don't want it to be rough. You can see what it looks like here. So for me to be able to do that, I have done the front. That was when I remember that I did not mention it. I'm going to go ahead now and do the back. So I just cut out I measured where I want it to be, and then I cut out just enough tulle net to be able to gather around it. So to fix it to your sleeve, what you need to do now is to turn it to the wrong side like this, and then this will expose the armhole. That's before you close the waist so that you can access it. So once it exposes the armhole for you, the next thing you do now is to gather your sleeve. Make sure that you don't want it to twist it like this. So make sure that everything is aligning well, and then you just tuck it inside that space that is opening up for you. Okay, so once you tuck it in like this, you arrange it, spread it out anyhow you want it to be, and then you go ahead and sew. So when you sew like this and you turn it, it's going to be neat. It's going to give you something like this. Okay, so I just thought to show us that. I'm going to do that, sew this side and fix my flare. So this is what it looks like. You can see how beautiful it is looking and how simple it is to make this. This is what the full view looks like. If you want the flare to be more bogus, you can decide to put the lining in yours, and then also add add net so that it can increase the volume. So this is what the back looks like. You can see how the selvage that we used as the yoke is aligning well, and how everything is turning out really beautifully. I love this. I hope you love it too, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I did creating this for you. I will see you in the next one. Bye.